the end of the day, we didn't come out in number one, but it's a terrific accomplishment. As far as I know, Cedar Falls men's golf has never finished higher than fourth, and so this was a record year for the school.
The Cedar Falls men's golf team did something this year that they have never done in school history, and that was to finish in third place at the state tournament. The golf team was very fortunate to play this season because with everything going on around the world, they were uncertain if they would have a golf season this year.
It was a pretty concerning start to the year because all of the spring sports had been canceled, and we're coming into the summer, and there were a lot of unanswerable questions as far as spring golf is canceled for the other classes. How are we going to manage? And so every day was a certain level of anxiety about would this be the last day we practice? Would this be the last meet that we compete in? And I think that was ultimately a positive because then you can take from that, giving your best effort all the time. At least that's the way I like to see it. And they got to compete in the same way. We didn't have kids out there by themselves, and really competitive golf is measured by you going out with your group and your group of opponents and seeing how you stack up. So I was really happy that we were able to keep that going.
We were very fortunate to even have a season. I know in the spring, all of the spring sports got canceled, so definitely very fortunate to have our season, or that we did have a season.
This men's golf team did not have one standout golfer this year. You can say there were a pack of golfers rotating between the top spots.
I draw a lot of parallels to cross country. I used to run cross country in the fall myself, and the way that you dominate in that sport is you clump all of your teammates together. And in golf, obviously, it's a little bit different because you can't just mentally will yourself. But the idea is the same, is that you clump yourself together by shooting good scores with your teammates, and then you can't help but be very successful. And so a lot of that comes from inspiring one another. I think on the team, I think we have great leaders year over year that leads to our success, and that inspires others to want to play well and do the best for their team.
Yeah, so I really do feel like we had the most talented team in the state. We always had 4 or 5 guys vying for our 6 and 7 spot, which, I mean, if high school golf took 6, 7 scores, we'd win every single meet because we have that youth, and that the younger players are going to help us out a ton. And so that balances the team, because if one of our top guys, in the 1, 2, 3 spot, doesn't play well, for example, we can always count on a 4, 5, 6 score to be in there and come up for us big. That really helped at state the second day when Gus Ferguson, who was playing 5, shot 78, and he counted as our 3rd score, I believe. So I mean, it shows how balanced we were and how we could really take any score and still finish well at meets.
The best 5th score came in handy at Elm Crest Country Club in Cedar Rapids for district play.
Yeah, so we ended up tying with Xavier, which none of us really expected. We were ranked pretty high the whole year, so we thought we would kind of walk through districts.
The wind was just a huge factor, just because it was blowing and the gusts were 40 miles an hour. But everyone had to play in it, and it just had a mental battle too, because you just knew that the wind had such an effect on each of your shots.
For me, I just felt that since it was really cold, wind chill was in the 30s at the start, and with it gusting up to 30 or something, you just can't have super high expectations, and just got to know that scores probably weren't going to be super low just because of the wind and the temperature. But
what I felt very good and very proud about was that each of the golfers on the team for Cedar Falls battled in the wind and had a lot of discipline and focus. And what was nice is it proved how valuable that characteristic is by having a 5th place tiebreaker that was just one stroke better. I mean, and everyone can think of one shot, 1 2-footer they didn't put in, one shot they left in the bunker, and somehow that was the difference.
That was a close one. So yeah, I mean, Ethan coming in and having that 5th score just really helped. I mean, if you think about it, if we were in that tiebreaker for 3rd and 4th and you didn't have that 5th score, I mean, we wouldn't have made it to state. So yeah, every shot mattered that day, and it matters every single tournament, really.
it really makes me a proud person to be able to watch those things unfold, and then be able to show the players, all that hard work you put in on the greens. This is where it shows.
With golf already being a difficult sport, and then you add wind, cold weather, and other elements to the game, you can find your mental game going down the tubes. But Coach Engel really tries to coach that positive thoughts, and a strong work ethic will help you with the overall process.
I'd say either his work ethic or just the way he builds a team. He's obviously one of the most, if not the most successful Cedar Falls High School coach. I think his record's like 319-19 in the regular season. And I think that amounts to how well he coaches the team and gives us like tips on how to stay positive during meets. In terms of work ethic, he's always working extremely hard. He has to enter numbers and like balance golf for Cedar Falls, which is a growing sport compared to how it is to the world where it's declining. But I mean, my freshman year, there were 25 of us, I think, and now there's 50 of us. So he has had to learn as well to manage a lot more people, and he does a great job of it. And with that many people, it's hard to have one-on-one relationships, but he really hits on that well, and we all know him. He's an awesome coach. I mean, there's not much more to say.
He just tells us to stay positive, try not to think about it too much and put it behind us, and just think about the next shot. I appreciate how positive he is, and he always has a smile on his face whenever I see him on the course, and he's just always happy in general and always encouraging us.
Yeah, I mean, he always says that he's always positive on the course, which is good to see. And yeah, he always says if you have a bad shot, just keep your head up and you'll hit the next one better. And he's also said we're all good enough that if we do hit a bad shot, you're due to hit a good one the next shot. So it's always good to have a positive person on the course, especially if you're not playing the best. So yeah, that definitely helps.
And sometimes people think like, oh, it's this like voodoo, or maybe you need hypnosis, or it's some sort of like ancient technique. But really what it is drawing upon yourself that you have the free will to think about your own thoughts. There is no destiny in golf. There is your free will to think about your shots. And if you have negative thoughts, you just have to know that's not going to help. And as a coach, that's what I focus on the most, is getting rid of the thoughts that don't help. There's really the only good thing to do is to focus on what you can control, and those should be positive things.
Luke Meyer was one of 2 seniors on this year's men's golf team, and will have a lot to remember about this season as a Tiger golfer.
There's a lot to remember from this year. Yeah. I mean, probably just like the connections we've built. We're all basically best friends. I mean, now it's off season for them, and for me, I'm going to college, so we're doing lifting programs together, which has like never been done before in Cedar Falls history. Another thing would just be some of the scores we shot this year. I mean, we shot 291 at the Tiger Invite, which was the lowest ever. And then the day before that, we had broke the 9-hole record for Cedar Falls. Then we break the 18-hole record. And then that next Thursday, we broke our own 18-hole record again, posting 282, which is 6 under for a team, which just about never happens in high school. I mean, you try to break 300 as a good score, and we broke it by 18.
The Tigers will lose 2 seniors this year, which means that the majority of the team will be returning next year for more Tiger golf action.
Yeah, we gotta, because the varsity team this year was almost all sophomores, and the seniors we're losing is only 2. And we got a couple players coming up too, so that should be good.
The nice thing about golf, as it compares to basketball, is sometimes great basketball teams will lose role players that sometimes don't show up in the stat line, but the coach knows that that's like their glue guy. In golf, because it's a very heavy individual sport, if you have people that see our success and want to be a part of it, I think it drives them to practice more and to compete more. And so that basically ensures that the cupboards will never be bare. And so in the future, I'm looking forward to, and I know the athletes are as well, returning to the state tournament and improving upon the team's finish. But I also know individually, and maybe they'll say it out loud and maybe they won't, but I know individually they really want to have an individual title or an individual podium finish. And I want nothing more than that for them.